How to solder and desolder connections. Soldering is a process of joining two or more metal parts by melting and flowing a filler metal into the joint. Desoldering is the opposite process of removing the solder and separating the parts. Here are some steps to follow for both processes. How to solder connections. Choose a soldering iron that suits your project. The power, tip size, and shape of the iron will affect the quality and speed of your soldering. Clean and tin your soldering iron tip. This will prevent oxidation and improve heat transfer. Tinning means applying a thin layer of solder to the tip. Prepare your components and wires. Strip off any insulation, clean any dirt or corrosion, and twist or bend them into the desired shape. Heat up the joint with your soldering iron. Touch the tip to both parts that you want to join, and wait for a few seconds until they are hot enough. Apply solder to the joint. Touch the end of the solder wire to the joint, not to the iron tip. The solder should melt and flow into the joint, forming a shiny and smooth fillet. Remove the solder and the iron. Once you have enough solder on the joint, pull away the solder wire first, then the iron tip. Do not move the joint until the solder cools and solidifies. How to desolder connections. Choose a desoldering tool that suits your project. You can use a desoldering clump, a desoldering braid, or other tools to remove the solder from the joint. Heat up the joint with your soldering iron. Touch the tip to the solder that you want to remove, and wait for it to melt. Use your desoldering tool to suck or wick up the molten solder. Depending on your tool, you may need to press a button, release a plunger, or touch a braid to the joint. Repeat until all the solder is removed. You may need to apply more heat or use more desoldering tool to get rid of all the solder. Remove the components or wires from the joint. You may need to use tweezers, pliers, or other tools to pull them out.